I never thought success would feel like losing my best friend. She was my sister in everything but blood. We laughed together, dreamed together, and built our worlds side by side. For years, we were inseparable like two halves of the same soul. Then, one day, everything changed. She made it big. And with that, she disappeared. Not just physically, she ghosted me. No calls, no texts, no explanations, just silence. At first, I thought it was temporary. Maybe she was busy, caught up in the whirlwind of fame and fortune. I told myself to be patient. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months. And the silence only grew louder, screaming in my ears like a betrayal I never saw coming. I kept replaying our last conversation. The way she smiled, but didn't really say much. The way her eyes looked distant, like she was already somewhere else somewhere I couldn't follow. It felt like a slow unraveling, like the friendship I'd treasured was quietly dying right in front of me. And then came the whispers. The rumors. That she was moving on, making new friends, new alliances, people I'd never met, people who didn't know me, people who didn't care. It stung. It burned. Because she was supposed to be my person. But here's what they don't tell you about losing a best friend to success. It's not just the absence that hurts. It's the way they erase you, like you never mattered at all. So, I did something no one expected. I didn't chase her. I didn't beg for answers. Instead, I bought the label that dropped her. Yeah, the very company that took her in, made her famous, then tossed her aside like yesterday's newsie, became the owner. Why? Because sometimes the only way to reclaim your power is to step into the arena on your own terms, to turn the tables on the person who left you behind, to say, "You thought you could erase me? Watch me rewrite the story." This isn't just a story about heartbreak or betrayal. It's about survival, about fighting back when the people you trusted most betray you, about the thin line between love and war, friendship and rivalry. And most of all, it's about what happens when the person you thought would always have your back becomes the reason you almost broke. But I didn't break. Not completely. This is how I went from being her shadow to becoming the storm that changed everything. My name is Aisha, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the kind of person who believes in loyalty, deep, unbreakable loyalty. It's probably because the people closest to me have always meant everything. But no one showed me how fragile that loyalty could be until I lost my best friend. Her name is Zara. We met in high school, two awkward kids thrown together in art class, bonding over shared sketches and inside jokes. From the start, it was like we were two sides of the same coin, different, but perfectly matched. People called us inseparable, and we wore that title like a badge of honor. We had dreams too. Big ones. While others talked about boys or parties, Zara and I talked about music and success. We weren't just best friends, we were partners, a team planning to conquer the world together. I managed the behind-the-scenes, the business ideas, the contacts, the endless grind on Zara. She had the voice that could move mountains. Raw, powerful, unforgettable. For years, it was just us against the world. We'd stay up all night writing songs, imagining the day when our names would be on billboards and our voices heard everywhere. I believed in her like no one else did. Maybe too much. I wasn't just her friendie, was her biggest fan, her manager, her rock. But even in the closest bonds, cracks can appear. I started noticing subtle changes after Zara got that first big break. The late-night calls stopped coming. The texts slowed. And slowly, she drifted into a world I wasn't a part of anymore. It hurt, but I told myself it was part of the journey. Success changes people, they say. I reminded myself to be patient, to trust her. But Zara didn't just change, she vanished. And worse, she didn't fight to keep me in her life. That silence cut deeper than any betrayal. Looking back, I realize how much I gave to her dreams, how much I sacrificed, hoping one day she'd turn around and thank me for believing when no one else did. Now, I'm left wondering if she ever cared at all. I'm not a victim, though. I'm not the girl who sits and waits for answers that will never come. I'm the one who picks up the pieces and takes control. Because if you've ever had someone disappear from your life without warning someone you trusted with everything you know what it feels like to be left behind in the cold. But you also learn how to survive the cold, how to fight back. So this is my story, the story of how I turned the silence into power, and how the friendship that broke me almost became my greatest weapon. It started with a message, just one. But it hit me like a slap I never saw coming. I was scrolling through social media late one night too restless to sleep when I noticed something odd. Zara had posted a cryptic tweet. Some people forget where they came from. Funny how success rewrites loyalty. My heart sank. That wasn't like her. At least, not the Zara I knew. I stared at the screen, fingers trembling, when my phone buzzed. It was a notification from an entertainment news site, a new signing at the label I used to pitch to, the very label that had dropped Zara months ago. The headline caught me off guard. Rising star Zara sparks drama after abrupt label exit. The article hinted at conflicts behind the scenes, but gave no details. I felt the familiar sting of confusion mixed with hurt. What happened? Why would the label drop her? And why had she disappeared from my life like a ghost? Determined to find out, I reached out to a mutual friend. She hesitated but finally whispered, "Zara's changed, Asha. It's like fame swallowed her whole. She's moved on to new people, new life." I wanted to believe it was just a phase, but deep down, a gnawing suspicion took hold. A few days later, I decided to check the label's website. That's when I saw Zara's profile was gone, erased. I called the label's office, trying to get answers, but was met with silence or vague responses. No one wanted to talk. Then, the moment that shattered everything came unexpectedly. I was at a cafe, scrolling through my phone, when a message popped up from an unknown number. "If you want to know the truth about Zara, meet me at the loft tonight." My pulse quickened. Was this some kind of joke? A trap? I debated ignoring it, but curiosity and desperation won. That night, I arrived at the lofted, dimly lit bar, buzzing with whispered secrets and clinking glasses. I scanned the crowd until I spotted a familiar face, someone from Zara's old circle who had also been pushed out. He slid over, eyes wary. "Zara's not the same girl you knew," he said quietly. The label signed her, then dropped her when she refused to play their game. She fought back, but it cost her everything. I felt a mix of anger and protectiveness. How could they treat her like that? How could she just disappear without a word? But there was more. "She's been hiding something," he added. "Something big, something that could ruin her and maybe even you." I swallowed hard. What was he talking about? I wanted to ask, but the noise of the bar swallowed my words. As I left, a chill ran down my spine. The pieces were falling apart, but the picture was far from clear. Why had Zara cut me off? What was the secret she was hiding? And why did I suddenly feel like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, about to fall into a darkness I wasn't ready for? I knew one thing for sure: this wasn't just about a friendship ending anymore. It was about something much bigger, something dangerous. And I was right in the middle of it. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind was a tangled mess of questions and doubt. Should I confront Zara? Or was I overthinking everything? Maybe I was imagining the betrayal, twisting shadows into monsters that didn't exist. But every time I closed my eyes, her face appeared so close, yet so distant. Why did she disappear without a word? I asked myself. Did she hate me? Did I do something wrong? I kept reaching for my phone, wanting to call her, to break the silence, but my fingers froze every time. What would I even say? Why did you ghost me? That sounded too angry. I miss you? Too vulnerable. I was stuck between wanting answers and fearing what those answers might be. Then, there was the message from that mysterious stranger at the loft, the warning about some secret. What if he was lying? What if he wanted to drag me into a mess that wasn't mine? I tried talking to my closest friends about it. Maybe Zara's just busy, I told myself aloud during one late-night call with my sister. Or maybe she's changed, my sister said softly. People do, Aisha. Sometimes they grow apart. Her words stung. Was Zara really someone else now? Was I holding on to a ghost? I decided to dig through old conversations, scrolling through our messages like an archaeologist searching for clues. We'd laughed, planned, promised forever. And yet, the last few messages felt different, distant, curt, almost rehearsed. One stood out. Zara had said, "I need space right now. Please understand." Space. A word loaded with so much meaning and pain. Was it space from me? From our friendship? Or space from something bigger, something she couldn't tell me? I asked myself that question 100 times, and each time, the silence in my room grew heavier. Days passed in a blur of restless thoughts and quiet desperation. I found myself walking the streets at night, replaying memories that now felt like a different life. One evening, I caught myself whispering in the dark, "Why, Zara? Why did you leave me behind?" That night, I finally did what I'd avoided. I sent her a message. "Zara, I don't know what's going on, but I miss you. If you can, please talk to me." Minutes felt like hours. Then nothing. No reply. My heart ached in a way I never thought possible. Was this the end? I kept staring at my phone, willing it to light up, to ring, to give me some sign that we weren't really done. But the silence screamed louder than any words ever could. Was I fooling myself, hoping for a reunion that would never happen? Or was there something darker at play, something she was hiding from me and from the world? Every moment of doubt pushed me closer to the edge. Should I confront her in person? Or was that a battle I wasn't ready for? I found myself pacing my apartment, running through every possible conversation in my head. "Zara, why did you leave me? Did I ever matter to you? Are you afraid of me?" Each question tore me apart. And then, late one night, the phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, heart pounding. "Don't trust her," a distorted voice warned. "Who is this?" I whispered. "No time to explain. Just know she's not who you think she is." Before I could say another word, the line went dead. I sat there, frozen, the weight of that warning sinking in. Was this a joke? A threat? Or the truth? I realized then that whatever Zara was hiding, it wasn't just about success or friendship anymore. It was something dangerous, something that could destroy us both. And I was running out of time. The next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something vital, something hidden just beneath the surface of this whole mess. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. I followed one of Zara's new contacts, a man I'd seen lurking around her social media posts, a sharp-suited stranger who seemed far too comfortable in her new world. My heart pounded as I trailed him through crowded streets and neon-lit alleys, trying to stay unnoticed. He stopped outside a sleek, glass-fronted office building, the kind of place Zara had always dreamed about but never imagined entering. My breath caught when he buzzed someone inside and was let in. I waited. Minutes stretched like hours. Then, out of nowhere, Zara appeared. Only she wasn't alone. She was arguing with the man I'd been following. Their voices were low, but the tension was impossible to miss. Her face was red, her eyes blazing with frustration. And then he shoved a folder into her hands, thick, heavy, filled with papers. I strained to hear their words. "Do you understand what this means for you?" the man said sharply. Zara's voice cracked. "I don't care. I'm done playing their game." That's when it hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a fallout over fame or friendship. This was bigger. Much bigger. I needed to know what was inside that folder. Later that night, when Zara was gone, I found it tucked under a loose floorboard in her old studio where we had poured our hearts into every song and every dream. Inside were contracts, emails, and financial documents revealing something shocking. The label had been using Zara as a pawn in a scheme to control her music rights, and more importantly, her earnings. They planned to strip her of everything she had fought for. And here's the kicker: the label's owner? The same mysterious stranger I'd followed. Suddenly, everything made sense. Zara wasn't just dropped. She was sabotaged. But what hurt most wasn't the betrayal by the label, it was what I found next. Hidden inside the folder was a letter addressed to me. "Aisha," it read, "we know you've been watching. If you want to protect what's yours, you'll need to make a choice. Stay out of the sand, lose everything, or step up and fight." My hands trembled as I read those words. For years I had stood on the sidelines, watching Zara rise while I stayed in the shadows. But now, the shadows were gone. This was my moment. I realized then that I couldn't save Zarana from this. But maybe I could save myself. The next morning, I made a decision that stunned even me. I called a business lawyer, arranged meetings, and started making calls I'd only dreamed of making before. I was going to buy the label. Not to ruin Zara, not to take revenge, but to protect what was hers, and to reclaim what had been stolen from both of us. Because sometimes the biggest battles start with the smallest, most unexpected choices. And this was just the beginning. I never imagined the day would come when I'd stand face to face with Zara again, especially not under these circumstances. But there we were, in the sleek conference room of the label I now owned. The place where her dreams had been twisted, where our friendship had shattered without warning. I had arranged the meeting under the guise of settling the label's future, but really, I was desperate for answers. Zara walked in, eyes scanning the room, and then they locked onto me. There was a flicker of recognition, but also something deeper: guilt, fear, maybe even regret. "Why did you do it?" I asked, voice steady but my heart pounding. "Why did you leave me? Why didn't you fight to keep us?" She looked away, biting her lip. "It wasn't that simple," she whispered. I shook my head. "It always felt simple to me. I was your friend, your partner, but you disappeared like I was nothing." Tears welled in her eyes. "I thought I was protecting you." "Protecting me from what?" I demanded. She took a shaky breath. "From them, from the label, from the mess it became. I was scared, Aisha, scared that if you got involved, you'd get hurt." I stared at her, disbelief mixing with anger. "You think I'd be hurt? I think I was already broken, and you left me to pick up the pieces alone." Her voice cracked. "I never wanted to hurt you, but I couldn't tell you everything. Not then." "What? What were you hiding?" I pushed. She hesitated, then finally said, "There's more going on than just the label. There's a fight inside that company one that goes beyond music. I was caught in the middle, and I didn't know who to trust. I felt like the ground beneath me was crumbling." "And you didn't think I deserved to know? To help?" "I was wrong," she admitted, tears streaming down her face. "I should have trusted you." For a moment, we just looked at each other, two people torn apart by fear, betrayal, and love. Then, the door opened. The man the label's former owner, the stranger who had pulled the string, stepped inside, a smug smile on his face. "So glad you're both here," he sneered. "You think you can outsmart me? This company and this industry is mine." I stood up, fury igniting inside me. "Not anymore." Zara looked at me, eyes wide with a mix of hope and fear. In that moment, everything changed. It wasn't just a battle for the label anymore. It was a battle for truth, for loyalty, for redemption. And I was ready to fight not just for myself, but for the friendship that almost broke me, and for the future we both deserved. The showdown at the label was just the beginning of a new chapter one neither Zara nor I expected. With the old owner ousted, I stepped into a role I never dreamed of: CEO of the very company that had tried to break us both. It was overwhelming, terrifying, but strangely empowering. Zara and I sat down that same day after the confrontation to talk for the first time in months. The air was heavy with all the things left unsaid. "I'm sorry, Aisha," she whispered, eyes glistening. "For running away, for not trusting you." I reached across the table, taking her hand in mine. "I'm sorry too for not seeing what you were going through. We both made mistakes." We laughed bitterly, tears mixing with smiles. The label needed a complete overhaul: new contracts, new artists, and most importantly, a new vision. One built on respect, transparency, and loyalty. Together, we started rebuilding not just the company, but our friendship. It wasn't easy. There were days when the past threatened to pull us back, when old wounds reopened. But we faced them head-on, stronger and wiser. One evening, months later, we hosted a small showcase for new talent at the label's renovated studio. Watching Zara perform, raw and authentic, I realized how far we'd come. She caught my eye mid-song, nodded with a smile that said, "We made it." But just as the applause filled the room, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You think this is over? Watch your back." I froze. The battle wasn't finished. Far from it. Sometimes, the people we think are behind us are just the beginning of the storm. And as Zara's voice soared through the speakers, I knew one thing: we were ready. Ready to face whatever came next. Together,